Mr. Rotimi Jacobs, SAN, joins us now, also a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, many know you from your prosecutorial perspective background, so they say, did they see that going on a lot? So you will have some insight into this debate, this argument making the rounds. Should the commission be restricted to investigation, or should they leave it as it is, combining it with prosecution? But those who argue say, look, if you leave it the way it is, are we getting the right results as it is today?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, at least for my view on this point. I think we should first of all realize what Abi Mahmood, SAN, was trying to say. Abi Mahmood was trying to raise an issue for debate. It's not the appropriate thing for us to start calling names and be condemning that call. I think his intention is just to, how do we improve, how do we do better? I think I must commend him for raising the issues so that people can discuss, Nigerians can discuss the way forward, so that Nigeria can move forward, so that we can get more results. I guess that is his intention. But unfortunately, some of our colleagues have taken it out of context. I've listened to some of the speakers who are talking, trying to pull down the EFCC, saying that they don't have power, they don't do this, they cannot do this, or they'll be doing that. I was thinking that the intention of the president of the bar is very clear: how to improve, how to deliver better, what do we do better. So I think that was the intention. It's totally uncalled for to start castigating anyone, castigate the EFCC or even the lawyers. So it's a call for discussion. And I must come to your question. I think we must know where we are coming from. What led to all these various agencies, particularly Economic and Financial Crimes Commission? We must look at the history. Where do we start? Initially, where were we on this fight against corruption and even other crimes? So, and I must give you some example on this. Before the establishment of ICPC and EFCC, it is the police normally investigate and send case file to Federal Ministry of Justice. So, but we were not getting it right then. Because why? Because there was no synergy between the Federal Ministry of Justice, State Ministry of Justice, and the police. So we were having a lot of problems. No investigations were shoddy, no conviction. Before ICPC, before EFCC, I've never read a case in our statute book where a former governor was convicted before 2000, or where former Inspector General of Police was convicted, or where a big man was convicted in this nation. So all convictions recorded before this time were the unknown people, the poor people. So that was our position before. That was where we were before. So then EFCC, ICPC came on board, and all these other agencies, they came on board. I will give you one example that led to this. The case that was prior to be the biggest case in Nigeria, that was the Brazilian case. It was the biggest 419 case. It happened between 1992 and 1993. The Brazilian bank was defrauded. The bank collapsed as a result of the fraud, and the matter was reported to police in 1993. The matter was in court, with the Nigerian police for more than 10 years. No charge was filed. Nothing was done. In fact, there were opinion by the Federal Ministry of Justice then that there was no case, that the case should be thrown out, that nobody should file a case because there was no case. Then EFCC came on board, and then look at this file. In fact, I remember when the Nuri Badu started the investigation under his leadership. We filed a charge. The defense lawyer came with the legal opinion written by Federal Minister of Justice and said, no, there is an opinion on this case that no prosecution should proceed because there is no evidence. Say, look at our evidence. Can you say there is no evidence here? So at the end of the day, those suspects, those accused persons were convicted, and the properties were recovered. And the Brazilian bank were able to get their funds back from Nigeria, then with this development, would you say that the EFCC or ICPC are not doing anything? I know that I have convicted 2 governors as a prosecutor. I know I've convicted the former Inspector General of Police. I know I've convicted some big people, custom officers. So please, what are we saying?
But you say, sorry, so
if you look at it,
sorry to cut you
yes.
there, the impression we get now, you're saying is doable, it is possible, but in the eye of it all, a lot of Nigerians are saying perhaps it is just you in the midst of so many others yet undone.
You see,
so making them talk about capacity for the EFCC to prosecute more.
No, before I come to the capacity, you see, you ask me these questions, and I'm trying to lay the foundation as to the history where we were before and our present position. I know EFCC have prosecuted, they have convicted. I know of about 1,000 cases in which they are convicted within their since 2004. More than 1,000 convictions. Would you say that organization is not doing well?
More than 1,000?
More than 1,000 convictions. Would you say that organization is not doing well? More than 1,000. So please, what are we talking about? Let everybody come with this record. Let them come with the record of conviction. Let other organizations come with the record of conviction. Let police come with the record of conviction. And compare. You'll be able to see that the difference is clear. And someone came here and said there is no even power on the part of EFCC to prosecute, and that it is lacking. You see, when you look at the Constitution is the ground norm. The Constitution confers prosecutorial power on certain bodies. If you look at Section 174 of the Constitution, Section 211 of the Constitution itself recognizes that in relation when it comes to power of prosecution, it is the Attorney General of the Federation that has the overriding power, overriding function as a prosecutor. Then the officers in his department. Then the Constitution went on and said, no, it's not only those 2 people who could prosecute. Other authorities are empowered to prosecute under this Constitution. Other authorities. And who are these authorities? They are bodies established by law, and they were conferred power to prosecute. There are many of them that are prosecuting. The police were conferred under their own law to prosecute. They were conferred power to prosecute. Even Nigerian Custom can prosecute. NDIC are prosecuting. NAFDAC are prosecuting. So why single out the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission? So there are so many other bodies that are prosecuting in Nigeria.
So if they then say,
yes,
in order for it to appear as though they are singling out the EFCC, if they say, well, okay, let's look at how they performed. If they've done this, and we feel they could have done much more than they are, owing to perhaps, I'm not saying that it is, but maybe question of capacity. And then they suggest, if we have a national prosecuting council or agency, will that help in any way?
Well, I listened to Olisa Agbakoba ICN and what he said. You know, it's not, there is no uniform method all over the world.
Yeah. So
in most countries of the world that I've traveled to now, over on this corruption fight, struggle, it's not that you cannot distance prosecution from investigation if you want a result. The moment you distance the two together, there be this lack of synergy, and it will be obvious that you can't get results that you are expecting. So the synergy between the prosecution and the investigation must be there. Okay. Most of these investigators are not lawyers.
We can have the synergy, but does it have to be the same agency investigating and prosecuting? Because people will tell you, after all, in a democracy, there are separation of powers. Even the principle of natural justice tells you can't be a judge in your own case. So that kind of principle coming to bear on cases as such, of this, if you say, yes, we'll have the synergy, but not the same agency doing both, will that work?
Well, the campaign on this has been on for a very long time, and the issue raised by A.B. Mahmoud has been on for a very, very long time. I remember when we started in 2007, and when Andoka became the Attorney General of the Federation, there were serious issues as to whether the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission should in fact, he took over, he attempted to take over some of the cases that were handling then. And there were serious issues as when we were prosecuting some cases where he said they will go and obtain order from High Court, and they said, no, we will obey the order of the court, and that we will stop further prosecution. And we went on and we went up to the Supreme Court over all those cases. And the Supreme Court said, well, you can prosecute. No court can stop you from prosecuting. The synergy we are talking about, that in all over the world now, you don't limit the investigation to the police alone. The investigation, the prosecutor must actively participate in investigation for effective investigation, because the investigator will not know what is required in order to secure conviction or to present a prima facie case before the court. Okay. It is the lawyer, it is the prosecutor who knows where he's going, who knows where the materials to get, who knows what to look for. And in the absence of that, they'll be able to do. So combining the two, they are not to decide any case. It is the court to decide. So whether you combine the investigation with they don't decide at that stage. It is the court to decide. Okay. So you cannot say that it breached the principle of fair hearing. There is no hearing at that stage.